Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Seahawk Central News, the top source for UNCW's campus news, entertainment, and sports. I'm Janae Randall.
And I'm Sarah Lively. Remember, you can stay tuned to Seahawk Central News, which is available 24/7 online at tealtv.org.
This week, we will look back at Communication Studies Day, along with an outlook at some of the events to come.
And not only that, but we will also head over to the sports desk with Ben Tyson and the rest of the Seahawks sports team and catch you up with the latest movie reviews with Chris Vickery.
Stay tuned because Seahawk Central News starts right now. The Zeke Donut Dash benefiting Port City Young Life was held on Saturday, March 24th around UNCW's campus. Competitors began at the UNCW track where they ran 1.5 miles around campus before stuffing themselves with a half dozen donuts in front of the crowd. Following this donut eat session, competitors had to run another 1.5 miles around campus before completing the 5K Donut Dash. Awards were given to the top 3 overall male and female finishers in the competitive division and also for the largest and most spirited teams.
Com Studies Day was held last Friday at UNCW. Events included panel discussions, networking, and the annual fashion show. This year's show was themed Chopped, based off of the Food Network's hit TV show. Who was able to survive and not get chopped? Let's head over to Sarah Sinise, who was there to check out the event.
I'm here outside of the Cameron School of Business for Business Week. Inside, students are networking with professionals, getting a little bit of real-world advice for the business field. This year marked the 30th anniversary of UNCW's Business Week, with over 100 sessions available in areas of business, marketing, information technology, and more. ECOVA Senior Vice President of Strategy and Innovation, Ted Schultz, speaks about the exciting convergence of industries in today's market. What advice do you have for someone graduating in the business degree?
Well, I've actually got a lot of advice for someone graduating. Well, the biggest thing is, number one, I'd follow the money. So, where the money is and where venture capital is going is the hot industry, and that's where the jobs are. So I think it's really important to follow the money. Secondly, I would get comfortable being uncomfortable. So as you're a student coming out, things that you don't like doing are what you want to try to find an opportunity to do, and that's how you grow and get better.
Senior Robert Crowley gives a student's perspective on Business Week.
I think Business Week is good for the students because we get a lot of good advice from people who are already in the business environment, and also our peers who are just entering the business environment, who they just have a lot of sound advice for us.
The Communication Studies Department put on its 10th annual fashion show this past Friday, showcasing students in their dress for success. The day was also filled with 2 panels of UNCW alumni who traveled as far as the Charlotte region to share their advice with students and offer networking opportunities. Students were provided with a wide range of professions, branching from the broad field of communication studies.
I think the most important part of Com Studies Day is the potential to network with someone new and really just gain a vision for what you can do with your comm degree.
I really just wanted to learn from some of the panelists and other people who have already graduated from this study and just to see their perspective on it.
I'm Sarah Sinise, reporting for Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
For those of you who did not know yet, Chapel Hill has created a new cell phone ban preventing even the use of hands-free devices. That's Rachel Nagel's topic for this week's Talk on the Walk. Let's hear how fellow UNCW students feel about this ban.
Recently, the city of Chapel Hill banned the use of cell phones by drivers. We're out here on Chancellor's Walk asking students to give us their thoughts on how they would react if a similar law were passed in Wilmington.
I would definitely support a law banning talking on the phone while driving, because I've almost been hit by 2 people and actually hit by 1 person talking on the phone.
I wouldn't like it at all. I think talking on your cell phone is no more distraction than talking to a passenger while you're in the car.
I think that in retrospect it's a good idea because you don't want to cause wrecks and stuff, but at the same time, if there's an emergency, I feel like it's extremely necessary to be on the phone.
I think having a law like that in effect here in Wilmington would be really beneficial because having people talking on the phone while driving is very distracting and it's not good for them or the people around them because accidents can occur.
I personally don't support the law that you cannot talk on your cell phone while driving. I think it is all about personal experience and whether or not you can handle that, and I don't think that's something that the government can control. I think that should be a personal decision.
I'm supportive of the law. I'm actually from Connecticut where hands-free devices while driving is already banned, so I know that it has positive effects.
I don't think that it should be illegal to talk on the phone while driving because sometimes if you're lost, it's a good idea to call for directions.
I agree that people shouldn't be allowed to talk on the phone and drive because I feel like most of the time when I am driving and someone does something irresponsible or cuts me off, they're usually on the phone while doing that.
There's no question that the use of cell phones by drivers is dangerous not only to themselves, but to everybody else on the road. With the advances in recent technology, this issue has been recognized on a national level, but is now hitting closer to home. I'm Rachel Nagel for Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
Chancellor Gary Miller announced last Thursday that UNCW will provide a permanent on-campus home for Art for the Masses, an exhibition that features original local artwork. The exhibition will celebrate its 10th anniversary and will open in the Bernie and Warwick Centers on Saturday, November 17th of this year. Art for the Masses makes artwork accessible to everyone and will feature art priced at $250 or less. UNCW student art will also be available for purchase. The exhibition is free and open to the public, and a $3 donation is requested to help fund public arts projects at the university. The program is coordinated through the Department of Art and Art History as well as the Bozeman Gallery.
A 100 Hoodie March was held last week in honor of Trayvon Martin, the Florida teen who was killed a couple of weeks ago. Participants met in downtown Wilmington for the march, and Teal TV's Jill Capodanno was on hand to observe.
Petitions and protests calling for justice for Martin are exploding around the United States. Wilmington citizens are doing their part by staging a march downtown.
I think that anybody is innocent until proven guilty, but certainly, the things that I have heard doesn't sound very fair to me. The fact that they have a law that, the police told him, the gentleman, not to pursue Trayvon, and he did anyway, and Trayvon is obviously dead, I think is a travesty that they aren't even able to charge him and put him through a trial because of the crazy laws that they have on the books in Florida.
He was coming from the store and he bought two things from the store. And then he had a hoodie on and the police thought he had a weapon in his pocket, in his jacket pocket.
Although it really wasn't a weapon, and it's sad for him to pass away.
Well, I felt as though it was an injustice. I mean, plenty of people walk around with hoodies on, and it's just stereotyped to where you can be black and wear a hoodie, and you can feel as though you're in a neighborhood that you shouldn't be in, and you get, something happened to you.
Justice for Trayvon!
As a town and as a nation, people are coming together to show their support and to find justice for Trayvon Martin and his family. I'm Jill Capodanno, Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
UNC Weekends is a group designed to create weekend events for UNCW students. And on Saturday, April 14th, they will hold a Nature of the Game paintball competition. The event will take place in Hampstead and will last from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Tickets can be purchased in the cake office for $15 with a UNCW student ID. Ticket sales are limited to 50, so students are encouraged to purchase them before they run out. Lunch will be provided for all attending the paintball event. For more information, stop by the cake office on the second floor of the Fisher Student Center.
Anthony Tony Atkins is a professor in the English department and coordinator of composition. Let's find out more about him in this week's Professors in Focus.
My name is Dr. Anthony Travis Atkins. I am the composition coordinator in the Department of English, and my PhD is in rhetoric and composition. I have lots of those, but I think in and some students know, but I play fantasy football every year. And this particular year, with about 12 people, I happened to win the whole league this year, which I was really excited about because the money came right when I could pay for my Christmas presents and all the gifts that I had to buy for everyone. I think what I would really like to teach if I had my choice is a course on 1980s hip-hop culture and music, and I think that would be really a lot of fun, where I could listen to music, talk about the history of hip-hop and that culture, and sort of relive my time in high school in the 80s, which I think would be a lot of fun to do. That is another really good question. I've had lots of interesting things happen in class. I guess several years ago when I was teaching in Louisiana, I was, in front of the class teaching, and the police knocked on the door and came right into the class and took a person out in handcuffs, which I found to be interesting or somewhat bothersome, I guess. I didn't know why the person was being arrested or what was happening, and quite honestly, I did not ask any questions. I guess I was glad that the person was removed from the classroom. That's, just the fact that you're asking me about retirement is worrisome to me already. I do not have huge retirement plans, I guess. I really enjoy teaching, so it's not something that I'm looking forward to giving up. Though I suspect, like most people, I'll recognize when it's probably time for me to retire. And I'm still looking to stay around the Wilmington area, hopefully move a little closer to the beach, use my surfboard a little bit more, and hopefully work on my own writing projects. That's what I'm looking forward to doing.
The 6th annual Hawken was held last weekend in Lumina Theater. Hawken is a 24-hour movie marathon held for students. Teal TV spoke with Gage Holcomb, projectionist for Lumina Theater and Ace Films co-chair. Gage said normally movies have to be at least 10 to 15 years old to be chosen for Hawken or be considered a classic cult film or one students remember from childhood. Who Framed Roger Rabbit kicked off Hawken at noon on Saturday, March 31st, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off ended at noon on Saturday, April 1st to conclude the 24-hour event. A moviegoer referred to Hawken as Christmas for film kids and said those really into it make a list all school year with films they think should be shown at the event. T-shirts were handed out to those who attended all movies of Hawken, all 24 hours, and 12 films were shown in total, and 5 contests were held during Hawken, ranging from a Best Pajamas contest to a putt-putt contest after the airing of Caddyshack.
The Grammy-nominated performance company Pilabolus made their way to UNCW as part of the UNCW Master Series. Katie Nemerick has more with the performance of the world-renowned Pioneers of Dance.
I'm Katie Nemerick here at the Pilabolus Workshop at UNCW. Pilabolus is a unique dance company that has been seen on Conan O'Brien, 60 Minutes, and the 79th Academy Awards. Let's take a look at some of the work that they've done with students and the community alike.
The goal of the workshop is to get students to collaborate with one another. The exercise focused on getting the dancers in sync with one another and collaborating without planning. A good portion of the workshop was leader-follower exercises to set the dynamic. Then they worked on moving in unison. The group was asked to get as physical as possible and have fun, but pay attention to their fellow dancers as they support them on stage. The teachers made the workshop fun and energetic for students, and it was clear everyone was having a great time.
Each year, graduating students are asked to donate money towards a class gift for UNCW. This year, the UNCW School of Nursing class of May 2012 decided to use their money to give back to the children of Lake Waccamaw. Their $12,900 donation of time and materials created an outdoor patio and deck for students to eat, visit, or simply relax. More than 25 nursing students built the patio and deck on Saturday, March 31st. After completion of the deck, the children of Lake Waccamaw helped the nursing students paint a large, colorful emblem on the deck. The project was initiated by nursing students after they visited the Boys and Girls Home of Lake Waccamaw as part of their community health nursing course.
Let's switch gears and head over to the sports desk with the latest athletic news. Ben, take it away.
Hello there, sports fans, and welcome back to another edition of the Seahawks Central Sports Report. We'll start things off tonight with some soccer action at the Seahawks Soccer Stadium. On Wednesday, March 28th, the UNCW men's soccer team hosted the Wilmington Hammerheads. The Hammerheads are a Tier 3 U.S. professional soccer team that plays at Legion Stadium. The Hammerheads are 2 tiers below Major League Soccer and 1 below the NASL, home of the Carolina Railhawks, who play in Raleigh. Now, that is going deep into U.S. soccer for you, so I hope you enjoyed it, as I hope you enjoy these highlights from last Wednesday's match.
The Hammerheads are in Carolina blue, the Seahawks in navy. That's Bryce Taylor, number 15, with the shot for the Hammerheads. Deflected, put in the back of the net by number 10, Andres Cuero, to make it 2-1. Hammerheads early. We move on to number 2, Tom Perry, with the set piece. Looking for the goal. Great save there by Brandon Miller of the Seahawks. Then here we have Stephen Perry on the break. Hammerheads trying to walk this way. However, he is stopped by number 11, Michael Recchia for the Seahawks. Then Manny Guzman in the second half, just a hair high on that one, trying to make it 3-1 for the Hammerheads. No goal. Here, Jack Avison once, twice, thrice. A fourth time on the fifth one, the Armenia tries to find Hagop Christensen, who was not expecting it. It goes wide, no goal. Then Seahawks on the set piece here, the corner. However, great save made by Hammerheads keeper Michael Pollock. Then Bryce Taylor looking for another goal late, but he is chased by the Seahawks keeper. Final score, Hammerheads 2, Seahawks 1.
The day prior, UNCW and the Hammerheads announced that former Seahawks soccer stars Daniel Roberts and Christian Davidson signed contracts to play for their Hammerheads this season. Coach Aiden Heaney said, quote, "Both are talented individuals who will do well at the professional level. They've had the professional mentality every day for the last 4 seasons." We have a few awards and notes to wrap up the 2012 basketball season for you. First, sophomore point guard Alicia Andrews earned second team All-State in the University Division by the North Carolina Collegiate Sports Information Association this past week. It's the second consecutive year that Andrews has been named to the second team. In other news, the National Association of Basketball Coaches named Keith Rindelman first team All-District 10 out of 24. Other members of the District 10 team include Kent Bazemore of ODU, Bradford Burgess of VCU, Franz Massenot from Drexel, and CAA Player of the Year Ryan Pearson from the Patriots of George Mason. And on a bit of a sad note, Brian Mull from the Star News reports that Dante Morales, KK Simmons, and all-rookie first-teamer Adam Smith have asked to be released from their commitment to UNCW basketball and are expected to transfer. Now, I cannot officially comment on the reason for their request, but inside sources have informed me that UNCW will likely receive a ban from the 2013 CAA tournament because of something called the Academic Player Rating, or APR. This rating is given to each university based on a formula comprised of players' grades from a 4-year period. Many critics have blasted this formula as unfair to freshmen and sophomores that must pay the time for a crime committed by their predecessors. However, no official word has yet been released by UNCW Athletics, but keep up with it, uncwsports.com, for further updates. Moving on to baseball, where the Diamond Hawks have heated up following a 4-5 loss at Elon on March 27th. The Hawks hosted conference rival Old Dominion this past weekend for a 3-game set at Brooks Field. Let's look at the highlights from Game 1.
Josh Eldridge is at the dish. It's a sinking line drive to the shortstop, Jake Koenig. A nice grab. That'll be a web gem. Hot shot to the first baseman, Thomas Pope. It's a race to the bag, and Pope wins that race. He's out. Michael Bass at the plate smacks a single up the middle. That'll be a RBI. Seahawks showing off their speed. He's safe. Great steal. Booyah! That's a hot shot by Matt Campbell. RBI single stretches the Seahawks lead. Seahawks put their wheels in motion. Great speed on the base path with a rare double steal. Andrew Kane with great effort here, unfortunately comes up short. That ball gets past him and scores a run. But the Seahawks fared well on the day, pounding out 16 hits and beat the Monarchs 10-4.
Saturday was Military Appreciation Day, and the Seahawks picked up another big win, 7-3. Hunter Ridge went 2 for 3 at the plate for the Seahawks with 2 RBI. Andrew Kane also had 2 hits, and Matt Batts picked up the win for the Seahawks, tossing 7 innings and allowing only 3 earned runs. On Sunday, the Seahawks squeezed out a win in the bottom of the 10th inning when Jake Koenig laid down the game-winning bunt scoring Hunter Ridge from third in the process. Reliever Tyler Deloach picked up the win as the Seahawks swept the Monarchs for a 4-3 victory. Jordan Ramsey got the start for the Hawks and earned CAA Rookie of the Week. He threw 7 in the third and allowed 2 earned runs while striking out 5. The softball team faced off against local rival East Carolina last Wednesday in a doubleheader. Trevor Bray has the report.
Thanks, Ben. I'm here at the Bozeman softball field as the Lady Hawks look to finish a 5-game homestand in a doubleheader against in-state rival ECU. Amanda Davenport hopes to brush off the dirt after being swept by George Mason this past weekend. Let's look at the highlights.
Christy Oshiro set the tone for the Pirates, hitting a single through the left side and is safe at first. Later in the inning, catcher Ashley Shillington's throw to third is no good, bringing Oshiro home. The Dub answered with bases loaded, and ball number 4 granted Torres the walk and the Seahawks' first run of the night. Jernigan's single brought a runner home, putting another one up on the board for the Seahawks. Jelnick grounded to the middle plate, and a late throw to home advanced the Pirates 3-2. Next up for the in-state rivals, catcher Shingleton caught Glaken attempting to steal second, and she is out. Jordan Critcher's fly ball to left field is going, but falls short at the fence. Her big play was not enough for the Seahawks.
The Seahawks did not fare well against the Pirates' intense offensive plays with high scoring in both games. But make sure you come support your team Friday, April 6th as they face Georgia State at 3 p.m. I'm Trevor Bray with Seahawks Central News, Teal TV.
10-2 was the final in Game 1, and the Seahawks lost Game 2 as well, 7-1. The team then visited James Madison University over the weekend, who swept UNCW in the 3-game series. Ending their conference season with a 6-1 throttling of Delaware on Sunday, April 1st, the UNCW women's tennis team now stands 12-5 overall and 6-1 in the CAA. The victory marks a 6th consecutive W for the Lady Hawks in the birdcage, with sweeps of Old Dominion, JMU, Cornell, Appalachian State, and Coastal Carolina. 3 non-conference matches are on the slate before heading to the CAA championships on April the 19th. The men's golf team carded in 9th place finish overall against a nationally ranked field in the LSU National Invitation this past weekend. Thomas Bass placed 12th individually, a stroke behind fellow teammate Payne McLeod, who tied for 9th. The 18th ranked LSU Tigers defended their title with a standout performance by Austin Gutguzel, who captured the individual title by 4 strokes. The Seahawks return to the links this Friday, April 6th, for the River Landing Intercollegiate. The men's swimming and diving team won their 11th straight conference title at the end of February. Ariel Lappin has the full report.
Hello Seahawks, we're reporting from the Seahawk Natatorium, home of the 2011-2012 CAA Swimming and Diving Champions. We caught up with the team for the insight on the successful season.
Coach Allen, you've had a very successful season thus far, 11th consecutive title and a strong 3rd place finish for the women. What were your highlights of the season and of CAA championships?
Well, certainly, you know, the championship is always the highlight for us because it's the culmination of a full year of hard work. And I think our women did an outstanding job. They came together and they finished about as high as they possibly could finish. On the men's side, certainly the championship was a great meet for us. It was very close this year. On Saturday night, the last night of the meet, there was actually at one point 17 points difference between ourselves and George Mason. They were coming on very strong, but our guys responded every time they made a run. Our guys stepped up and put in some great performances. So.
Earning all CAA honors in the 200 backstroke, we caught up with freshman Valtteri Hallinen to get the insight on his successful rookie season.
Can you tell us what your highlights were for this season and CAA championships?
Team-wise, conference championship, and individually, my 200 backstroke. I improved my time. I dropped a 2nd in the conference championships, and I was pretty happy about it.
Closing out her senior season with a conference title in the 400 relay and all CAA honors in the 100 free, here's a senior salute to Anna Munger from Coach Allen.
She brings a good work ethic to the program in the pool as well as in the classroom. A very, very strong student. So somebody like that you just cannot replace anytime soon. People have to really come in and work their way through the level that she has, and she has a great deal of impact on our program, and she is certainly one that we're going to miss very, very dearly over the next few years.
The Teal TV sports team would like to congratulate the Aquahawks on an excellent season. Till next year, this is Ariel Lapid with Seahawk Central News, Teal TV.
The track and field team hosted the 4th annual Beaches versus Mountains meet this past Saturday, which pitted East Carolina and UNC Wilmington against Western Carolina and App State. The Beaches swept the meet with track star Becky Boulay setting a school record in the 800 meters relay. Boulay finished the 800 with a time of 2 minutes, 12.92 seconds, besting the 1997 record by April Sauer of 2 minutes and 13.65 seconds. Will Zarodny picked up wins in the 1,500 and 3,000 meters, while Jeremy Johnson gave UNCW a win in the 100 meters, and Connor Brooks picked up a W in the 400. Also, Cameron Walton won the long jump with a distance of 7.36 meters. The next meet for the Hawks is at the Florida Relays in Gainesville on April 6th and 7th. That's all for this episode. Have a great week, and don't forget to keep on keeping on.
Last episode, Teal TV invited the candidates for SGA Student Body President and Vice President into the studio for a debate on issues and topics for their upcoming election. Student voting was held last week, and Keith Frazier and Adam Webb were named the new SGA Student Body President and Vice President. Congratulations, Keith and Adam.
Many UNCW students know the name Parker G and are used to seeing him all over campus. Parker G is known for creating Seahawk Anthem, playing Ultimate Frisbee, and just for his general involvement as a Seahawk. Teal TV brought Parker Grissom in studio to talk about UNCW, his school spirit, and his time as a Seahawk so far.
I'm here with Parker Grissom, popularly known around campus as Parker G. He is widely recognized for his tremendous school spirit and outrageous outfits. Thank you for coming, Parker.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, you were recently nominated and won the UNCW Superfan Award. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the Superfan Award was a creation of Team Teal. It started for like the basketball games, and it was between 3 nominees. It was conductor Kenny, the dude that leads the band. He's real spirited. Grandma Hawk as well. She's like a veteran of the Seahawks. She comes every game. She has sock puppets, and she's real high energy, and she gets the crowd going. And me, and I'm in the crowd. And so it was between us 3. It was put up to the students as a poll online, and about 170 students voted, and I was 1 vote ahead of Grandma Hawk. So it was real close all the way to the end. I was like nail biting watching it, and at the very end, like midnight, it was like 67, and it was really cool.
So what justifies somebody being considered a super fan?
A super fan is someone that goes to all the games and goes to every single basketball game, but they didn't really specify if it was basketball. So I believe that's why I won, because I go to every event. You know, I go to tennis matches, I go to softball, I go to soccer, I go to basketball, and basketball is the main one. And it's almost like conductor Kenny, who's kind of held back because he's only in the band, you know, and Grandma Hawk only goes to basketball games.
Oh, wonderful. So you've been quoted as saying that you'd like to build a super fan base here at UNCW. How do you plan on being single-handedly responsible for that?
Well, there always has to be one person that's doing more than everyone else. You know, it's like kind of being, I wouldn't say obnoxious, but it's like someone who's doing something that kind of sets the bar real high, and everyone can be like comfortable with doing something a little bit more crazy than out of their comfort zone, because like, oh, he's making a fool of himself, so I can make a fool of myself, you know? And it kind of like it disperses the awkwardness almost, and it's like, I want to be that guy, you know, because I'm not scared of judgment. And so I'm going to go to the games, and I'm going to start leading cheers. And it's like, if there's nobody there to do that, then it's like nobody can start that. And I want to be that guy that starts it.
Well, speaking of nobody being there, you were quoted as saying that it isn't that UNCW necessarily lacks school spirit, but instead could just increase their level of school spirit. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a lot of spirit here. Like, we're at the beach, you know, like everybody's full of spirit, everybody's full of sunshine, everybody's full of happiness, you know, and it's almost like you can divert that happiness towards certain things, you know, and I want to be able to get that spirit and get all that spirit riled up and put it towards the athletes and put it towards each event. And if you invite all those people to one event and they all get really excited to go to the event, they come to the event and they're stoked, you know, and they're really excited. And it's like they have that base, it's like there, but we just have to get it we have to direct the happiness.
So how do you gauge how much school spirit a certain school has?
Well, if a crowd, like people come to the game and there's a huge crowd, but everybody's sitting down texting, just talking to their friends, that's not very much spirit, you know? But a crowd there's a huge crowd and everybody comes and they're all standing up on their feet, just yelling until they lose their voice almost, you know? And that's a lot of spirit. And it's like the initiative to get up and stand up and yell. And it's not having something yet. It's like someone's leading you and you like cooperate and it's like group think all coming together. That's how I judge it.
So it doesn't matter the size of the school, it's just how much energy a crowd can produce.
How much each individual person, like each individual person can make a lot of noise. Humans can make a lot of noise, you know, and when you combine 100 humans together, like even 10 humans in a crowd, in a quiet sporting event such as baseball, if you have 10 people that are just yelling their faces off, it's gonna create an atmosphere for the players. And then if you triple that, you can get all the way up to 100, you know, 100 students there, and they're all yelling their face off, that's a crazy atmosphere.
So you've also been quoted as saying that you were born to be a Seahawk and that you didn't choose UNCW, but instead UNCW chose you. How is that so?
Yeah, well, I grew up at the beach, and I loved to be at the beach. And as a little kid, I loved going to the ocean, and it was almost like I loved to just discover stuff at the beach. And it was like I have blonde hair, and my eyes are kind of teal, and it's kind of crazy. But it's like I can't really explain that, but that's something that I was born with. And then it's like I love to longboard, you know, everybody here longboards. I love to play Frisbee, you know, and I love to care about my body and I love to give happiness to other people, and I feel like that's what the beach is about. It's like paradise, you know, and everybody's real happy here and everybody loves to be here. That's what I love to do.
Great. Well, Parker, I'd like to thank you again for coming out here, and I'd also like to speak on behalf of the entire student body and say that we look forward to joining you in your enthusiasm and seeing you at all of the local sports games.
Yeah.
Ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Rachel. He sure seems like an interesting guy. The UNCW Department of Film Studies hosted the second annual Visions Film Festival and Conference last weekend. Award-winning student filmmakers and film scholars attended the festival and also participated in discussions, panels, and workshops throughout the day. Filmmaker Javi Zubizarreti, recipient of the Princess Grace Foundation's Undergraduate Scholarship Cary Grant Award, kicked off the festival with a keynote address and film screening Friday morning at Lumina Theater. His film, Zuritzako, tells the story of his grandfather's sacrifices and repercussions as an immigrant shepherder in Idaho. Several student presentations were made, and films were shown throughout the day. The festival had a 1-hour take video race, which gave participants 1 hour to make a film. The event concluded with an award ceremony for the video race.
The 16th annual Wing Fling was held last weekend at Carolina Beach. The event is put on by the Delta Tau chapter of Pi Sigma Epsilon, UNCW's chapter of the National Professional Fraternity for Sales, Marketing, and Management. 9 restaurants participated in the event, and live music was provided by Rocket Surgery, Hoots and Hellmouth, and Jonathan Tyler and the Northern Lights. The event had 10 sponsors, and ticket prices range from $15 to $20. Proceeds from Wing Fling supported local charities.
The odds were definitely in the Hunger Games' favor, as the film brought in a record-breaking $155 million at the box office opening weekend. Teal TV's Chris Vickery went to check out the Hunger Games, as well as Wrath of the Titans, and brings us his opinion of the films.
Thanks, Sarah. Welcome everyone to Critics on Campus, where we review the latest movies in the Wilmington area. I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside my co-host for the day, Trey Owings. Trey, as always, we did 2 movies this time around, the first of which was Wrath of the Titans, the sequel to Clash of the Titans, starring Sam Worthington as Perseus, who this time is fighting the Titans as opposed to just the gods, and save his father Zeus. What did you think of this one?
I really liked it. You know, the first movie, Clash of Titans, didn't get great reviews, and you know, doing research on IMDb, this one didn't really get as good reviews as I thought it would, but I loved it. Visually, it was stunning. I really enjoyed the fact that, you know, this time Perseus didn't have all the answers. You know, it wasn't as convenient that he would, you know, find a magic sword somewhere or Pegasus would come save him out of the blue. This time, the conflict was a lot more, I guess, believable.
Yeah, and I think that this movie though it had some forced jokes and some funny moments that weren't that funny, it had a pretty strong story, and it was interesting. Yeah. It was engrossing overall. But out of 5 stars, what would you give this one?
I'll give this one a solid 4.
Really? I think I'd have to give this one a 3. I've given some other movies 4s that I liked a lot better, but it's a solid movie, a good weekend flick. But the second movie we saw this time around was The Hunger Games, the much anticipated version of the books from Suzanne Collins, starring Jennifer Lawrence, and it's about a dystopian society where 24 children are set to fight to the death for sport. What did you think of this one?
This one, from an artistic standpoint, it was a great movie, as we discussed earlier, but I've always personally been a big fan of when movie adaptations are copies of the books, and there were a lot of scenes in The Hunger Games that I didn't really quite agree with how they portrayed the scene from the book, but overall, it was still an enjoyable film.
Yeah, I think I read the books as well. I really enjoyed the books, but I think that overall, the artistic license they took was necessary and very justified. The movie overall really just exuded the tone that the book did, this really kind of bleak society, and the performances from the cast overall were phenomenal. They really blew me away.
Definitely.
But out of 5 stars, what would you give this one?
Solely because I am a little biased towards the books, I think I'm going to have to give this one a 3.5 out of 5.
I'm going to have to give this one a 4. I really enjoyed it. I think it was just a really enjoyable movie overall.
Absolutely.
But once again, that's all for this week's reviews. This segment was brought to you by Carmike Cinemas. Stay tuned next time for more reviews of the latest movies coming to the big screen. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Vickery, alongside Trey Owings. See you next time.
Thanks, Chris. Yesterday, UNCW was honored to receive a special guest, Newt Gingrich. Our reporter, Jill Capitano, has more on the story.
United States presidential candidate Newt Gingrich spoke with me one-on-one while visiting Wilmington to discuss his presidential platform while at UNCW. I know I asked you a question earlier about your views on education, and you said that you think that students should get through school faster so they can get jobs and help pay off their student loans. But as a 4-year school, you're here to get your degree, and then people go on to get their master's and then doctorates. Are you implying that people should just pick up after their 4 years and go out and get a job, or do you support their continuing education?
No, I mean, I have a PhD, so I think education is terrific, but I do think that people need to focus on trying to pay for as much of it as they can while they're getting it, and they need to focus on trying to get through as quickly as they can, including, frankly, their PhD program. I mean, some people drag it out for 10 years. I think it's better to try to get through as quickly as you can, partly because that way you live more of life, and partly because that way you save money.
And how important do you think it is for my generation or the students here at UNCW and students across the country, our demographic, to vote during elections?
I think it's very important, first of all, because you're the generation that's going to have the longest lifespan ahead of you, so the decisions that are made are going to affect you for your whole lifetime. Whether the decisions that mean you end up in a war in the Middle East, or the decisions mean you end up with $10 a gallon gasoline, or the decisions mean that you end up paying huge amounts of interest on the debt, which becomes a burden on your taxes the rest of your life. So you have a lot at stake in your personal life in what happens politically.
Until next time, I'm Jill Capitano, Seahawk Central News, TLTV.
Now let's see the weather and events that are coming our way this weekend. Here is Laurel Servicki with the weekend update.
Welcome back, Seahawks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather this weekend. For Friday, you can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 70 and a low of 47. For Saturday, you can expect more sunshine, still a little cloudy, with a high of 71 and a low of 54. And sunshine for Sunday with a high of 73 and a low of 57. Take advantage of the weather Saturday by supporting Azalea Festival's Big Buddy 5K, 10K, and Fun Run. This event begins at 8 a.m. in Mayfair Town Center. That's a wrap on the weekend update. Have a wonderful long weekend, Seahawks. Back to you, Janae and Sarah.
Thanks, Laurel. That's all for this episode of Seahawk Central News.
Be sure to stop by tltv.org to catch each episode of Seahawk Central News. Until next time, I'm Janae Randall.
And I'm Sarah Lively saying, so long, Seahawks.